How do we overcome fear, jealousy, and doubt as intuitive empaths? Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm talking about how do we overcome fear, jealousy, and doubt, especially when we're trying to manifest a happy, healthy relationship as an intuitive empath. Last video, I talked about the different categories of empaths, and one of them was dark empaths. And basically how we become dark empaths, it's because we haven't truly fulfilled our mission in life, whatever path that we choose as an intuitive empath, whether we help people medically or we're mediums or we help people with their relationships, whatever venue we pick in order to help people. If we reserve our ability to choose and we hide in the background and we don't express our full talents and abilities, I believe we become dark empaths because we're living according to our false idols, according to our fear, doubt, and jealous tendencies instead of in the light and in our capabilities as intuitive empaths. And when we live that way, that's when we stir up a lot of trouble in our relationships and we don't find the right people. And many people are dark empaths. It doesn't mean that they're bad people, but what it means is that they haven't found their light and they're living in their darkness and they can't seem to get out of the dark night of the soul. And even when you have found your light, actually, and you found your mission in life, you can still go through a dark night of the soul just because Spirit wants to test you to make sure that you really are living in the light and you really are here to be of service on the planet. So it can really happen to anybody. Sometimes people think it's karma, like they did something bad in a past life, and it's possible. Sometimes those things happen, but we could just be tested by heaven too to make sure that we're on our path. And so we shouldn't take it as blaming ourselves and beating ourselves up when we experience a negative event in our lives or a challenge. Rather, just see it as a test to become more fully who you're meant to be in life. And so when you're experiencing life through the negative filters of jealousy, doubt, and fear, what happens is you manifest more of it. And when you consume news media and you're watching a lot of fear and negativity on the news, it does go into your psyche and then you do manifest more of it in your day-to-day life. And while it's okay to absorb some, like we do have immunity to a small extent to these negative stories and emotions, we don't want to overly expose ourselves by watching too much news media. So if you're out and about in society and somebody has the news on somewhere and you don't normally participate in watching it, it's probably not going to have a negative impact on you if you see it once in a while. But if you've got an addiction to consuming it all the time, then that's when you really have to cut back. And that's one of the main culprits, I would say, is consuming negative television content, negative news media. That really feeds into your doubt, into your jealousy, and into your fear in life, and that manifests more of it into your life. So you really want to avoid that type of content as much as possible and focus on your mission instead. Focus on how to be of service to others rather than indulge in the drama of negativity. And then the next step to overcome jealousy, fear, and basically negativity and self-doubt is that you need to get into the discipline of being seen for who you really are as an intuitive. Whatever your skill is or whatever your gift is, you need to get comfortable being seen for it. And so that can be done by just finding a trusting other person to help you and say thank you for your gifts and thank you for your time and for your abilities. It doesn't necessarily have to be money that you're being paid for your gifts in society, although money can be a helpful, validating source of affirmation, but it can just be done through gratitude and people saying, thank you, you really helped me, you really improved my life, or thank you, that was exactly what I needed to hear, or I understand why I went through what I went through at that point in my life. When you start receiving that gratitude and that affirmation, that chases away the devil, it chases away self-doubt, and you might think, well, yeah, I don't have people in my life like that. Where am I going to find them? So if you are having trouble finding them, be the light in society and go out first and contribute to your community first. Be of service, listen to your community, help them. You can do this electronically too if you're like I don't have a lot of places I can go to on the outside in person, then do it through your computer. Watch media on your TikTok or your YouTube or wherever you go to consume social media, and comment, participate in conversations, and try to help people. And when you're finally out there helping people, that's when you're bringing in more of the light. That's when you're chasing away self-doubt. And sometimes you can help by simply being playful and not even directly solving the problem, but just helping people not focus on the negativity so much and focus on their joy. That sometimes can be of service as well. You know, sometimes people are really critical of celebrities and TV stars that they're living superficial lives, but I believe if they bring joy into people's lives and they help them forget about their problems for a little while, then celebrities have done enough of a service in society really to enjoy their wealth, in my opinion, because they are helping people overcome their problems by simply not focusing on them. Sometimes that's exactly what people need. Sometimes they don't need a practical solution to their problem. They just need someone to listen, or they need some healthy distraction for a little while in order to get away from them, and then they can come back rejuvenated and ready to solve their own problems. And so whatever your path is as an intuitive empath, you need to find it, and you do it by being of service to other people and discovering it for yourself by being authentically available to help. And then once you're available to help and you are helping others, you also need to be available to receive help from others as well. You need to have both channels open. If you're constantly giving, I mean, it's a good thing to begin your process of discovering who you are, but then eventually you'll get drained. If you're always giving and nobody's giving you any money or any validation for what you're doing, then eventually you're going to get drained. And so you want to have some sort of reciprocity set up where you're receiving something in return for the giving that you're doing out in society. That could be financial, but it could be something else. Maybe it's a good reference that you're getting from somebody for being of service. Maybe it's a gift that you receive in return. And some forms of giving are unconditional love. So that means you're not expecting anything in return. So that's a wonderful and lovely thing to do as often as you can. But we are human beings, and so we can get drained, and so we have to watch that. So we don't necessarily want to be on and giving all the time from unconditional love. That's not healthy to do that all the time. If we did that all the time, then we basically walk around with no jobs, no income, homeless, and always happy and willing to give to other people. But then eventually we would have no resources and no ability to give to others if we never received anything in return for it, right? So unconditional love is great. I like when people preach that. You just have to be aware that sometimes you can go a little too far and a little too extreme with unconditional love. And so you don't want to be that person that's completely drained or homeless on the street because you've given everything away. That's not necessary to give that much to that extent, but you do want to be out there giving and receiving in a healthy way. And yeah, that's the beginning of recovering from your dark empathic tendencies. It's through giving and being generous and learning your life lessons and starting to be aware of wisdom and sharing it with other people. That's how you begin the process of healing anything in your life, really. And as you heal and you work on your fears, it's good to be aware of them and know what they are, because if you're totally unconscious of them, they will control you from the background. And so you don't want to pretend like you have no fear. You need to acknowledge and recognize what it is and have healthy coping strategies in order to deal with your fear. Like, say, for example, maybe you have a practice where you do things that you're scared of, and it can be as simple as jumping off a high diving board that you don't really enjoy. Or maybe you go out and you meet some new people when you really don't like people. Whatever that is, that practice to help you conquer your fear, you should have one, because the more you stretch and the more you let go of your fear, the more you'll realize you can do a lot more with your life than you previously thought. For example, I really appreciate sleep, but I participated in some things that required me to lose a little bit of sleep recently, and it was very interesting. I realized that I can stay focused and stay awake with very little sleep for longer periods than I thought I could. And that was very empowering to know that about myself. And I still value sleep a lot. I believe it's one of the most healing things that we can do for our bodies. So don't push your sleep too much. But having said that, if you're already living a healthy lifestyle and you're ready to experiment and try pushing your sleep in order to achieve your goals, dreams, and ambitions, you can experiment and see what you can do. It's good to test your abilities and test your limits sometimes to see how far you can really go, because when you discover you can do more, then you feel more empowered and you're able to give more and do more for others when you need to. But don't exhaust yourself. Don't go too crazy doing that. But sometimes it's a good thing to test your limits. And if you want to read an author who's all about testing your physical limits, I recommend reading about David Goggins. He's got some really interesting books about, overcoming your fear and overcoming your physical limits when you're training physically. So yeah, some people find his work a little bit out there and extreme for physical fitness, but I found it really inspiring. So if you have any comments about how to overcome fear, jealousy, and self-doubt as an intuitive and learn how to serve and really help people and discover who you really are, definitely leave some comments below. I'd be really excited to read more about that. And if you're enjoying my content, definitely hit subscribe, because I'll talk more about unique topics that affect intuitive, empathic people, especially in relationships. I'm really, really enjoying talking about that, but I like to focus on other areas as well from time to time. I hope you're all having an amazing, lovely, beautiful, sunny week, and I can't wait to talk to you next time. Take care.